Grab a rifle and help me defend this convoy against the Finnish. Огонь, товарищ! Огонь!
Or in other words,
Hello there.
regular viewers will know I have a thing for games that try to be realistic. And I like the games Tripwire produces. Killing Floor and Red Orchestra, both absolute favorites of mine. Both of these game series originated in Unreal Engine modding, and the creators of these games have not forgotten their roots, because mod support is still very much a thing. So let's have a look at a mod for a game that is a sequel to a mod. Talvisota Winter War for Rising Storm 2 Vietnam. The mod was released in early 2020 and just appeared on my radar. It was the perfect excuse for me to get back into playing Rising Storm 2. After downloading the main game and playing a few rounds for warm-up, I was ready to join the Winter War. Visiting the server browser and selecting a map with the prefix WW is enough to start the mod and get right into the action. You are fighting in the setting of the Finnish-Soviet War that took place from December 1939 to January of 1940. A short but brutal war in which the Soviet Union tried to crush Finland with attacks all along the border and one main massive big drive towards the capital. While the Soviets gained ground and technically won the war, they got themselves a really bloody nose. Finland may have lost the war, but despite being victorious, this campaign proved to be an embarrassment for the Soviet Union. But unknown at the time, it might have helped them later. Their poor performance led to Hitler massively underestimating the Soviets' willingness and ability to fight. Nonetheless, unlike a few years later, in the Winter War, General Winter was not fighting for the Russians in this campaign. Russian troops were bogged down in the snow and had to stick to roads, and they were absolutely ill-equipped for the dense Finnish forests. The small and under-equipped Finnish army held their own against the overwhelming Soviet might, who despite their technological and numerical advantage were not able to finish off the Finnish.
Perkele, siihen koske, saatana vie.
This situation is wonderfully represented in the mod. The numerical disadvantage? Not so much, to keep the game fair, but the technological differences are visible. Most staggeringly, the Finnish side lacks any tanks. The Soviets employ light and medium tanks, and even some gruesome flamethrower variants of the T-26, as well as the T-28, a true land battleship. This means for players on the Finnish side, only the brave will win the day, because the tanks need to be ambushed with mines, or need to be fought man versus machine with Molotov cocktail and satchel charges. Long-range anti-tank weaponry is hard to come by, but sometimes it can be found. Historically, the Finnish did utilize captured enemy tanks, but in this mod they are purely infantry-based. As unfair as this may sound, the Soviet tanks are not invincible and Soviet players need to look out for their armored support, as the players inside have powerful weapons but are virtually blind. This tank right here does not know what's going right on, and I'm trying to protect it from the Finnish troops, trying to get around it and just blow it up, which eventually happens. Let me say this right now. The mod is great. It does almost everything right, but the tanks are horrible. A powerful ally, but just not very fun to use. As the driver, you see out the vision port, and as the gunner, you see through the gun sight, and that's it. No opening vision ports or the top hatch to look out. Red Orchestra 1 did that better. And Red Orchestra 2 showed us how to do it in perfection. Yes, the full tank was modeled, and switching positions was animated. But the Winter War mod is still being worked on, so there is hope for improvement. With the tanks we have the biggest flaw out of the way. The rest of the mod is pure solid Red Orchestra and Rising Storm material. Infantry weapons come in a vast selection of period-accurate weapons. Mostly bolt-action and semi-auto rifles, and even rifle grenades made their way into the arsenal. The game keeps the menu structure and class system known from Rising Storm 2, but does away with the Vietnamese squad tunnel system and enables squad leader spawns for both teams. The developers even kept the visual customization system and implemented a full range of outfits. In this game, your selection of clothing is important. Proper camouflage can make or break your success. Players of Rising Storm 2 will feel at home in this mod, and fans of the older games as well, because this mod gives you really big Red Orchestra vibes. Not only gameplay wise, but also visually. The mod maps are not as visually pleasing as the main game ones, but for a winter war game, they come in great visual variety. The mod launched with 11 maps, and fan creations added even more. These maps represent the war situation in great detail. Many historical situations were picked up for these. In this example, I am playing on the Soviet side and have to hold off a Finnish ambush. A hard job, as we are essentially sitting ducks on the main street. And it can become a dicey situation when all of a sudden the trees around you start to speak Finnish. And you know, White Death is approaching. There are these times when the enemy team has a really good sniper and you can't for God's sake pinpoint his location. Especially on maps taking place at night or early morning, you see a flash in the darkness and the snow turns red. But snipers are not the only danger. A well-placed machine gun can hold off an infantry charge for minutes, or even wreak havoc in close combat if he catches the opponents off guard. Let me warn you though, don't put too much faith in heavy machine guns. On a lot of maps, these are broken because of the weird placement. But granted, many of these maps are still in beta stages, so let's be lenient there. Players of Rising Storm and Red Orchestra should be familiar with the sometimes a bit unelegant and clunky ways this game handles. Is this a game breaker? For hardcore fans, definitely no. If you loved Red Orchestra and Rising Storm and just want something fresh to try out, then this mod is definitely a recommendation for you. It comes with the familiar strengths and weaknesses. Go and check it out. And even for casual players who might just be used to Battlefield, give it a go. Get Rising Storm 2. For the retail price of $20, it's money well spent, and the game seems to be on constant sale anyways. Don't be scared off by the descriptor hardcore shooter, or highly realistic. This is not a simulator, it is still a game. Sure, with a realistic touch, but it is still action-loaded and approachable for everyone. This not only counts for the Winter War mod, it counts for the entire game franchise. Get the main game, get the mod, it's worth it. Links in the video description, and you might find yourself in my sights when playing it. Or who knows, I'll be in your sights. We'll see who hunts down who. That's it for this mod showcase video. A special thanks to our Patreons who brought this video to you. They got to see this video well before anyone else. If you liked this video, consider subscribing, giving it a like, and maybe even supporting us on Patreon as well. To our supporters and everyone else, thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Until then, have a nice day, and as always, goodbye and guten Tag.